Hey folks, everything's different in Texas. You know that, I know that. When I grew up there, I tasted a lot of dishes that are a little bit different than traditional. Now we all know what a kolache is, or kolache. It's normally a little Czech pastry, a little sweet pastry, with a little indentation in the middle of it, and it's filled with all kinds of wonderful sweet things like fresh fruit. Now in Texas though, they actually have stuffed version of them, which they call kolaches, and they're filled with usually savory items. And today I've got one I'm going to share with you that's filled with a lovely smoked pork tenderloin, along with some pepper jack cheese, fresh basil, and red pepper. Here's how it goes together.
You're going to start with half a cup of warm milk, so I heat mine to 110 degrees. And then in my bowl here I've got 1 package of active dry yeast, 1/4 of a cup of sugar, and 1/2 a cup of all-purpose flour. I'm going to pour my milk in there, mix everything together till it's nice and fully blended. I'm going to let that sit for about 15 minutes until the yeast gets going. Now in my larger bowl, I've got 2½ cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to mix in there 2 eggs that have been slightly beaten, along with 1 stick of butter, 1/2 a cup of butter. Blend all that together and then add in my yeast mixture. I'm going to blend everything together and then pour it out here on my board and sort of work it all nice and smooth until I get all the pieces in there. Then I'm going to knead it for a good 10 minutes until it's nice, smooth, and elastic. Now back in a clean bowl, I've got about 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. I'll make sure it coats all the sides, and I'll cover that and let it rise for about 1.5 hours. Now once it's doubled in bulk, I'm going to cut it into 16 pieces. So cut that in half, and then cut those pieces in half 2 more times. So you end up with 16 total pieces. Spread those out like that, and I'm just going to cover those up and probably let them rest for a few minutes while I get my ingredients together. I've got red pepper, pork tenderloin, pepper jack cheese, and some basil. I'm going to slice up the red pepper and then chop it into smaller pieces. I'm only going to use about half of this pork tenderloin. You can use any type of meat you like, but I'll chop that up as well. Then I have 1 package of fresh basil leaves that I'm going to chop up here, and about 5 ounces of pepper jack cheese that I'll slice and chop as well. And now the fun begins. You're going to take one of these little pieces of dough, roll it into a ball here, and then flatten it out with the palms of your hand until it gets nice and large, like a little baby pizza. And then what you'll do once it's completely flattened out about that size, you'll put a little cheese down, put a little fresh basil on there, a little red pepper, and then some of my chopped pork tenderloin as well. Then what you're going to do is just sort of slowly bring the edges up together and around that filling. Just take your time with it, but sort of pull it up and pinch it, and pinch them all together. And once you've got it all pinched in there, I sort of like roll it a little bit and shape it a little bit, and so just play with it because you want them to be all as uniform as possible. So you roll them out, sort of play it just like that. Then once you've got a nice smooth surface, for the most part, just like that, you set them on your tray, and you'll repeat with the other 15 of them. So when you're done, you realize you don't have a large enough baking sheet, so you transfer them over to a larger baking sheet, which is what I did. And then I'm going to let that rest for about 1/2 hour and preheat my oven to 350 degrees. Now I have 1 egg that I've sort of whisked together here, and I'm going to brush that on all surfaces to get a nice golden brown. And I'll put that in my oven for about 20 to 22 minutes. When they come out, they look just like that. I'm going to take a little melted butter and sort of brush that on the top as well to finish these guys. And of course, I got to give you a little beauty shot. You slice this guy in half here and show you how beautiful those fillings are inside.
So that's my Texas kolache. You can fill these guys with just about anything. I love the simple savory flavor of these, but try it with all kinds of things.
Now I also like to make a version with scrambled eggs and chive with a little bit of mozzarella cheese too, and that's pretty popular as well.
Really good stuff. The recipe, as always, is on my website at waynesweekend.com, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for this and a whole lot of other fun stuff still to come. Get a little taste of this guy. That's really good. See you next time. Bye.